Let's make carbonara. Making our fresh pasta, and that all starts with some flour onto our cutting board, and we'll then use our bowl to press down in the center and make a nice well in the middle. There, I'll crack in 2 whole eggs, and then I'll separate out 4 additional egg yolks, and keeping everything inside this well here, I'm going to begin to whisk up those eggs. Pretend the flour is a bowl and that you're whisking some eggs inside it, and make sure not to break the edge of that bowl or the egg's going to spill everywhere. Once your egg is fully scrambled, you can begin pulling in some of that flour from the edges of your well, and then slowly and gradually we'll want to incorporate that flour into our egg. I call this whole process the Italian grandma method for making fresh pasta. Eventually, once that inner egg mixture is thick enough that it's not going to run all over the board, you can go ahead and pull everything together all at once. This is when you'll want to get in there with either your hands or preferably a bench scraper. I typically use both at the same time, and at the next stage in this process, your pasta will start to look sort of like dry and crumbly scrambled eggs. Once everything's been scraped off the board, we can lose the bench scraper and fully get in there with our hands. Now it's time to pull everything together, squeezing and rolling and pushing it all into one ball, keeping your whole work surface nice and clean as you do it. You'll want to knead your dough for about 10 minutes, and this is very important because it's what develops that chew in your pasta. Pasta dough should be pretty dry, but if you feel like it's too dry, you can always add a little tiny sprinkle of water, bit by bit, until you feel the dough is workable. If you're doing it right, it should be a bit of a workout. You really want to use the force of the palm of your hand to push down into that dough, kind of rolling it into and over itself. And again, that's going to develop all the gluten in this dough. I tend to tell people that if you're kneading pasta dough in the right way, you're probably going to be sweating a little bit at the end. But really, what you're looking for is that dough to look and feel nice and silky smooth, just like this. We'll cover and let this dough rest for somewhere between 1 and 3 hours, and the difference between this and rested dough is that when I press my thumb into this one, it should spring back. We'll cover this up now in plastic wrap or a damp towel and let it rest at room temperature for 1 to 3 hours. And here's our rested dough. You know I never like to make you wait. Already, since this dough's been resting for so long, you can see it's very easy to shape and move around, and that's exactly what we want. It's really fun to play with. First, I'll remove my plastic wrap and then cut this into 4 even pieces. Anything I'm not using can sit off to the side so it doesn't dry out. As for our first pasta sheet, I'll press this out just a little bit, and then on the widest setting, I'll begin to pass this through my pasta machine. At this first stage here, you'll also want to fold it over itself to really get rid of any of those air bubbles that might be in there. And the overall key here is just to be gentle. Every pasta machine will come with different numbers, and our goal here is to get this up to number 6. That number is always going to dictate how thick or thin your pasta ends up being. The key to rolling out pasta this way is to be both patient and gentle. If you're doing this correctly, the pasta is going to do most of the work. Your job is simply to guide it and nothing more. Immediately, you'll notice the pasta already wants to stick to itself, so the way we fix that is with some semolina. I'll go ahead and drape that pasta into the semolina, coating it with that flour, and that'll give the outside of my pasta a very light coating, just to make sure